Cheers.
Hello, this is episode 217 of the Solo One Sci-Fi Podcast. I'm Michael Ball. I'm joined by the demigod of science fiction, Mr. Martin Fowler.
Hello.
And I'm also joined by the semi-demigod, Mr. Malcolm Patterson.
Ahoy, hoy.
Okay, how are you both doing, guys? Are you right?
Well, from a demigod and a semigod, I'm doing okay.
So does that mean I'm God then? If you're the demigod and you're the semi-demigod,
I'll just carry on with it.
I love Martin when he can think "fuck off" and get on with it. How's it going? The weather's been nice. Apparently, the weather's going to be changing tomorrow. So this is it. This is the end of summer.
I'm going to say Mission Impossible on Thursday.
Do you know what? I need to watch. I've never seen a Mission Impossible. I've got them all.
You need to watch them, man. They're great.
I know.
Films.
I will.
The second one is probably the worst of them all because the second one is they get rid of all the gadgets and all everything that is Mission Impossible and just made a straight up action film, and it's not very good. But other than that, they're all really good. I like.
I'm up for that. So
last
I'll watch
one was superb.
I don't mind Tom Cruise either. I know a lot of people can't stand it, but I
like Tom Cruise.
never minded him.
You know what you get when you go to the cinema? They're always great films.
I still remember him from Risky Business back in 1986. His very first movie. I loved that film. I thought that film was great. With what's the name? Rebecca De Mornay.
Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah, she was very nice.
I used to fancy her back in the day.
She was in The Outer Limits as well.
I think everybody did.
Version. She was in The Outer Limits in the 90s as well, and she still looked good. So this week we're going to be talking about the end of Andor, which has been certainly a polarizing production for the Star Wars community. I certainly it's a very strange flavor of Star Wars if you can actually think of Star Wars series as in different flavors. It's a bit more salty, and it's not very spicy, I would say. I don't know how would your taste analogy be in Star Wars? I don't know why you're going here. Anybody? Or was that just something you can't even answer?
Do you really want me to go into this?
No. I just started off talking there. Like you could see, like I don't know, the Mandalorian tastes like Maltesers, and the Acolyte tastes like shit. And forget about it.
I think Malcolm should go before me.
I don't even know where we're going here. I don't even know how it started. Go on, Malcolm. What are you going to say?
Well, no, we're not doing a sort of news roundup first.
Yeah. You're right. So this is actually going back. This is actually just general Star Wars, not the Andor. So, all right. So news week. This week, a few things have been happening. The Last of Us. I am still struggling to watch it. I think it's turned to complete shite now. Have you watched any more of it, Malcolm?
I've not watched it. I've not watched any of it.
Okay, so I won't give you spoilers, but
never seen it.
Okay, well, that's fine. There's a new Walking Dead series, Dead City Season 2 with Negan, which I am going to watch because I love The Walking Dead. But the thing that I have been watching, mind you two watch shows that I don't watch. So what have you both been watching that you recommend or not like?
Sci-fi wise, not much really. I started trying to watch The Mandalorian again.
I've been watching some of that.
It's just
I watched the last two of season 1 with that guy who keeps saying I have spoken. I can't remember his character, but I thought I quite liked him. Did you think season 3 was that bad, The Mandalorian? I mean, did you both loathe it?
I quite liked season 3, to be fair.
I quite liked it. I don't think it's half as bad.
I understand why people kind of thought it became the Katie Sackhoff show and all of
but
that.
I like
didn't
her
really
character,
see that
and I think she's great. I didn't mind it. I think it was weaker than the first two, but I still think it was relatively respectable.
But again, to me, it's a series that needed 24 episodes. We don't need to see 3 seconds of Grogu training. We need to see loads of it, and we need to see the Grogu. I know he turned down working with Luke, but let's see him come out with his own fucking lightsaber. He's fucking
actually
built.
Start to show some skills.
He's a mad, Mandalorian nightmare with a lightsaber and the Force on his side. That's what we really wanted to see. But I think Mandalorian, they just pissed away a massive opportunity, and it's because we're into this 8 to 10 episodes a season. Some guy said to me on Facebook the other day, goes, well, the production is so difficult on shows now. And I said, fuck, it's so much more streamlined now. The days of cast members hanging around all day on the off chance they might be used or not are long gone. Now you turn up for the hour and a half you're needed, film your bit.
That's it, and they piss off.
And all that is so streamlined now.
And then you think about the old
But you
shows,
wouldn't
like
have that.
the Star Trek shows and everything, with 26 episodes a year. Like the good old days when we used to have 2 Star Trek series and we used to get 52 episodes of new Star Trek per year. How cool was that? I miss those days. Strange New Worlds is coming back on the July the 17th. A lot of people saying it's almost becoming like a parody of Star Trek with the comedy episodes and stuff like that. And I think there are too many comedic episodes rather than proper science fiction exploration. You would both agree with that?
Yep.
Which is a
I mean, I
shame.
wasn't that impressed with season 2, to be fair. There were a couple of good episodes, but most of it was dribble.
Bit sort of, yeah. Okay, I think I favoured it stronger than you, Malcolm, but I don't know. I still like Strange New Worlds. I think it's got a good cast, but I think one of the aspects which is its problem is that there's just not enough episodes per year, and I think that is a factor with a lot of these shows.
Yeah,
it's just not
even
enough.
like they're doing arc episodes. It's like taking a season of Star Trek, pulling out all the fillers, and the low budget, and then making that your 8 episodes for the season. That's kind of what.
Well, yeah,
done
but
with
they're talking about these new genre of Star Trek series. They're talking about doing a Star Trek comedy series, like a sitcom. With that character Mariner.
One of the characters from Lower Decks.
Mariner, is it? I can't remember. Yeah, no, I don't want that. I don't want a Star Trek. I like sitcoms, but I don't want that. And it's like somebody on YouTube was saying that people. I think it might have been Jay on Sidetrack or the Tachyon Pulse. He was saying that a lot of Star Trek fans, they just want Star Trek. They don't want a horror Star Trek or a kiddie Star Trek or a comedy Star Trek. Just a basic premise of exploration in the science fiction universe that we're familiar with obviously some quirky episodes.
But the problem is, as it always is, with all the big Star Wars, with all the big players like Doctor Who, Marvel, DC, Star Trek, Star Wars, the same thing is the guys making these shows know that we aren't going to be around for much longer. We're not there. They need to get the new viewing audience in. They need to cater to the younger viewers because those of us
you're saying that in 30 years' time we will all be gone? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah. Basically, we'll be gone, and they'll have no viewers left because
that's a depressing thing to think about, isn't it? Isn't that morbid?
If you're a network executive, that's what you have to think about. Your job relies on it.
Malcolm, it's only Tuesday. I don't mind you coming out with that on a Wednesday. It's only Tuesday. Thanks a lot, Malcolm.
If he'd have recorded this on a Friday, it might have been a bit more bearable, eh, Martin?
Yeah. We won't be around it next 30 years.
Because we are back in the days where we used to have milk floats outside and It's funny actually.
The lemonade van.
Yeah, and when we used to say dust carts instead of bin lorries. Oh dear, I do. That's really an insult to us fans, though, isn't it? We're going to be too old, and we're going to make it so that it's no longer digestible because it's the wrong dynamic.
It's not as much as too old. It's just they need new viewers. They need the turnover. They need to get new news. They don't want to be 20 years from now and no fucker watches TV anymore because youngsters have grown up thinking it's a pile of shit.
But can't they make it so that it's accessible to both older and younger people?
You'd think so, but the kind of people that can do that are dying out.
Look at Terry Matalas. Look what he do. Look what he do.
Right, it's like Harlan Ellison. Those kind of guys. Jan, what's her name? Jan Espenson, and these kind of writers. They're just not really around anymore. The ones who can write just really great stuff that appeals to everyone.
Talking of demographics for another long-term franchise, Doctor Who. We haven't talked for the last couple of weeks. Obviously, we saw the Interstellar Song Contest was the most recent one, which was. I didn't mind it. Now we both. I think Martin, you texted me over the weekend said that you thought this one was quite good. You didn't mind this one at all, did you?
Right.
Go on. Or have you changed your mind now?
No. I'm gonna say I watched a couple of reviews after on YouTube because they were up straight away.
Yeah, you do look at them, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched 1 or 2 reviews, and the people weren't happy with it. And I won't say who it was, but they said it was full of it. I mean, they put it in there from A to D, haven't they?
You mean the messages, you mean?
Yeah. Yes, and from the minute it started, it was bang on. But what they did was they were very clever. They moved at such a fast pace with it. They kept this pace going. you weren't really thinking about it. You knew it were there, but you didn't mind it. Because
Just very quickly, what messages were in it this
very
week?
quickly.
I've not seen any of this kind of messaging stuff, and then hardly any of the seasons. There's been a couple of mentions here and there, but I've not seen it rammed down your throat this season.
I mean, no, it didn't bother. I mean, I'm not bothered about the message because, like you said, we've just answered the zone question. This doctor is this generation's doctor. There's a lot of them that love him.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Well, on some of the Facebook groups, I was reading the comments on my phone, and a lot of them, loved it.
It might go
polarizing.
Well, it probably goes back to what Malcolm's just said about we're the older generation, and Doctor Who's not made for us anymore.
That's why I was open to it. And to be honest, I didn't mind it. And the best thing I liked in it, what really scene I like when he punished that guy. Because I love it when the Doctor's darker side comes out, and I
that was I didn't mind that. I think he did cry again though. Did he cry this week again? Did I see a tear at one point?
Somebody said he did, but I don't remember.
I thought I saw a tear at one point, but I can't remember what scene it was. Was it when he's thinking about Susan? Because Susan came back in a flashback, or
I don't think you saw the old single tear. You might have seen a tiny little bit in his eyelid, but I don't think you saw the actual tear. But I mean, the reviews I saw polarizing. People either loved it or they fucking hated it.
Yeah, I think it was a polarizing one. I didn't mind it. I didn't love it. It was all right.
And oddly enough, when you read them, the people who love it aren't explaining why they love it. It's just it's brilliant. You love it. It's the greatest thing ever. And the people who really hated it didn't really explain why either. They just said, shit, still just shit, just drivel. And it was only the people in the middle of the road that gave any kind of real review or opinion on it.
Yeah, I think the first episode of this series was terrible.
That was the weakest of the lot, wasn't it?
But after that episode, this series has been an improvement every week.
What do you think about
It's risen to mediocre. I'll give it that.
Yeah, it's not the best. I've seen better. But it's kept it just above the line.
But I mean, Malcolm, you've never been a huge fan of New Who in its entirety. How would you compare it to, say, other iterations of the Doctor or other eras?
This particular episode, and a couple of flashes in the early, but this particular episode, particularly Angry Doctor, is the first time that we've really seen Ncuti be the fucking Doctor that we know. You know, I know you don't see the Angry Doctor that often, but he's kicked in now, and it's now I'm thinking, now I'm watching Doctor Who. I'm not just watching some flamboyant fucking idiot
shouting around in
a queue going, "Oh, babes," and all that kind of stuff.
I hate that. That's the stuff that I hate.
Fucking Doctor.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I know we all wanted the Rani thing to come, and we all predicted that this was going to be the Rani, and then we immediately give her a complete character overhaul, which pissed me off no end. I mean, there's kind of stuff coming up for like next week's episode, and it's not a Rani. It's just, I understand that people have gone, but when you regenerate, it's a different character. But the Doctor has always been a core character. The Rani isn't some megalomaniac villain. She's
a scientist. She's a scientist.
Yeah, she just does dubious experiments.
For her own ends, but she's not like the Master. She's not like evil.
She has no major animosity with the Doctor. They've only really crossed paths that we know of twice, maybe in a couple of the audio books and all that, but there is to make her a massive villain. And now they're also talking that Omega's coming back and all that, and that's just
I heard that. I reckon that will happen. I mean, he's throwing all the old classic era. Maybe again he's doing that partly to get people to watch the classic era, because then it builds more money, more interest into the franchise, rather than doing.
If he can bring something from the past and piss all over and destroy it, he'll do it. Let's face it.
Yeah, but he does it Sutek last season, and look what everybody thought about that. So
you see, this is the problem. You see, we're going through it again. When they did it last season, when we worked it out, it was the big dog himself, Sutek. And he appears at the end. It was quite a thing. Then we got the payoff, didn't we? And that were awful. It sunk the entire series. And the problem is with this is I've got issues with the regeneration. I've got major.
I didn't think we were going to see it again. I thought it was just a
one. No, I did, and that surprised me.
I was annoyed about that.
Yeah, I saw Angie Watts from EastEnders.
Yeah,
and she were like,
Anita Dobson.
Anita Dobson, when she said, "Oh, it's time," the Vindicator things that got the full strength, and that other woman come out of her, and I thought, what are you doing?
I know.
You know,
Well, if RTD runs true to form,
doesn't make any sense.
So are we not
but if
going to
RTD
get? Are we not going to get regenerations anymore? Is it always going to be
No,
by?
it's always going to be this shit now until someone
Well,
else
that's
takes
the,
over.
that, the
But
whole point.
if he runs true to form, RTD, what he's going to have done is he's written the whole thing to lead up to that one fucking wow moment. I'm the Rani, and everything from here on is going to be some wet fish flopping piece of shit because that's all he ever does with a cliffhanger. He writes these great things, a brilliant cliffhanger, and then the next week it's just where's your resolution, mate? You know what the fuck you're talking about. And we've now got another character. We've now got another character with a sonic screwdriver. The Doctor invented the sonic screwdriver. What did he do? Take a patent out to the point everyone in the fucking universe has got one.
Maybe it's like Thingiverse. You could 3D print it or something, and he sent it out on a website or something.
But the bi-regeneration thing, it's not making any sense.
I don't like it.
Because, like, so we've got David Tennant running about somewhere. So what happens to him? Does he regenerate? Does he bi-regenerate? So you're just duplicating doctors.
Yeah, so it could be that in the future there could be thousands of doctors who, because you don't die, you bi-generate, and then it's like 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. Is it going to do that?
Yeah.
There's loads of people on YouTube now saying that Ncuti Gatwa is going to become the Valiard. Which is obviously bullshit. And let's hope not, because the Valiard was supposed to be one of the worst characters in fucking Who history.
He's supposed to be in between the 11th and 12th Doctor, the Valiard. I don't remember.
No, he's supposed to be in between the 12th and final regeneration.
Sorry, you're right. You're right. But no, but don't forget that'd be
so now because he got a new lifeline. And has also had previous ones. We now don't know what the last one is. And to be fair, we don't really know what the 12th one is either.
He could come into existence. It would make sense if he came into existence through bi-regeneration. But yet again, it does go to the problem. Does he bi-regenerate then? I mean,
what about if you had an anti-bi, where you had two doctors who had bi-generated, and then they kind of side generate into a new. Oh no, I'm talking crap. I don't know about.
There's the other problem. The doctors are not meant to exist in the same time-space continuum.
Yeah, but this won't be at the same point because they're not dead. I don't know.
Unfortunately, the real absurdity of that is they travel through time, so the Doctor could be anywhere at any place at any time. So the idea that they can't exist together is a bit weird.
But
I like the idea that you can't ever go back to Gallifrey before if you've left, you can't go back to when you were there before. I think that makes sense.
Unless that's how they breed on Gallifrey, just bi-regenerate. They have 12 regenerations and then.
Well, they don't shag. So basically, when you want to breed, you just shoot another Gallifreyan, and then they bi-generate.
So does that make Susan another Doctor then?
All right, let's quickly ask about Susan. All right, so look, are we going to see her next couple of weeks? I reckon we must do. It can't be that just quick flash.
But again, people are all over Facebook going, "Oh, brilliant! We've got to have her back. She's got to be in more episodes." It's like, did you guys ever watch Doctor Who? All the woman did was trip over and fucking whinge. Why do we need her? Why is everybody so pissed-accurate about let's get her back. She was amazing. No, she didn't. She was comedy fucking relief in the early ones.
Is she going to bi-regenerate next week as well?
Well, can she regenerate? We don't even know.
Yes. I don't know.
She's a Time Lord. She's born on fucking Gallifrey.
No, I thought that if you're born in Gallifrey, you don't regenerate. But if you're a Time Lord, you do regenerate.
They're all Time Lords. The Doctor said so many times that my race, he always spoke about my race, the Gallifreyans. All the time he said that. And if this bit that everybody keeps going on about, that there's a whole fucking 90% of the planet are not Time Lords, when he thought that he destroyed the fucking planet, all he ever went on about was, I destroyed the Time Lords. I destroyed my race. So are you saying that this Doctor, who everybody loves, didn't give a fuck about the 90% of fucking Gallifreyans he killed? Because he never once fucking mentioned them.
I don't know.
But how can you kill them all off and they're all bi-regenerating?
Yeah, but they have been all killed off. They've been killed off twice. They keep killing them off and bringing them back again. I can't. Do you know what? When I'm talking about Doctor Who with you two now, I'm almost losing the will to live. It's like, what the fuck are we watching? What are we doing?
Stop it, man. You know what I mean? I mean, the other thing as well, when she and what's her name again, Anita Dobson,
Yeah.
when she regenerated, and the other,
yeah.
the actress, well, she's quite famous. I forgot her name, but when she come out of it and she says, "I'm the Rani, you're just a Rani."
Rani, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know her. I don't know the actress.
What's the point in that? And then I saw the 40-second clip they released this week.
I saw some images. What was the clip then? Because I didn't see that.
Well, they're on a balcony overlooking Earth, like on some weird dinosaur.
Clearly based on Star Wars architecture as well.
Yeah, yeah. And she's like, Anita Dobson's been right subservient.
Well, she was at the end of the last one.
From me.
Yeah, she's gone from something sinister to just fucking comic relief. What the fuck was the point of that?
That's what I mean.
Idiocy.
I think they might have shot themselves in the foot here, you know.
And you know that the last episode's not going to be on iPlayer like 9 hours earlier than it's released. It's going to be held off for release of when it's actually out live on the Saturday night. So, I mean, that tells me. I mean, let's obviously the next time we're on, it will be done. So let's put a question to you both. Do you think when we record the next episode, Ncuti will be gone?
Well, I've heard apparently Christopher Eccleston's coming back.
No, he's not.
Christopher
Eccleston?
Yeah, for one
What, even Russell T. Davies? Is he going to come up and give a big kiss?
I think I was closer to it when I said he's going to regenerate.
Yeah, listen, I'm more likely to be the next fucking Doctor than Christopher Eccleston. Jesus Christ, where'd you get that from? No, never. Never in a million years.
That's what I thought. I thought he's not coming back. And then
seemingly not getting a Christmas special this year.
Yeah, and it's going to be on hiatus until 2027.
So my guess is it's not going to end with any kind of regeneration. He's just going to get in the TARDIS and leave, and we're not going to know anything until it comes back because they haven't decided.
I think he should regenerate at the end, and that's where they cut it off.
They could do it the same as Colin Baker, where it was the end of the last episode of the Trial of a Time Lord. He went off with Mel, and then the next episode they just did a stunt double, and he was on the floor, and then they put Sylvester McCoy in his wig, and that's how they did it. They could do it like that.
Well,
could you imagine the next episode? It's Stephen Merchant in a Ncuti Gatwa wig.
With glasses on, like, yeah.
I'd rather see Carl Pilkington myself, but there we go. That would be interesting. So you both think it's going to end up with him just going off to the TARDIS, not regeneration, and not some sort of big thing?
I think that's what will happen because they haven't decided yet. They honestly don't know.
He is leaving now. He is leaving.
So you think he's going now?
It's still not confirmed it.
No, it's not confirmed. No, it's not.
No.
Oh,
I'm hoping he's going to be. I still think he's the weakest of all the Doctors I've ever seen. I think he's improved. I think this second season series 15 has improved a lot from the first series or series 14. But I still think that Ncuti's one of my least favourite Doctors, regardless of his acting or whether he's writing, whatever.
Yeah.
I think we've only got about 5 minutes left before we.
We've got 5 minutes before we reset.
Go on. Can I just run you through some films and TV series up and coming? Because there's a couple of them in there that I'd never heard of. I didn't know they were coming. So, Jurassic World Rebirth, I'm quite looking forward to that, largely because it's Scarlett Johansson.
Mm-hmm.
Tron Ares. I mean,
Tron Ares.
Again recently, and it was pretty boring.
I still fancy that. I look forward to that.
We're all up for Predator Badlands.
Yeah.
Another Avatar film.
Is that Christmas?
December, yeah. Avatar. I've not seen the second one yet, to be fair.
Oh, I've seen the second
one.
We've
got Fantastic Four. But here's one. Here's what struck me. A remake of The Running Man coming out in November. And this time this guy apparently says he will be following more closely to the book. Which, if you've read the book is completely different to the film. It's almost, it's an entirely different scenario. Other than the fact he's playing a game show for money and they're trying to kill him, nothing else is the same. So I'm quite looking forward to that. To be fair, I think it would make a better TV series than a film.
Some things work better in TV format than film. Yeah.
There's a series called The Walk coming that's set in a post-apocalyptic world, and people do this walk to survive. It's very dangerous.
Okay.
I think that's coming out later this year.
Fallout Season 2's coming out, isn't it, by the end of the year?
Yeah. But there's some more. But
December.
none of these are on the list of the most anticipated. One is called Murderbot, based on some woman's book. Never heard of it.
Okay. Yep.
Obviously, we've got Alien Earth,
Yep.
Ironheart,
Yeah.
and I'm quite looking forward to Ironheart. But my God, is that getting slagged off already? Oh, that poor woman.
Hey, look, I thought the trailer looks all right.
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to it. Neuromancer, some cyberpunk book. The War Between the Land and the Sea, we know.
No, but it's not that.
The Eternaut, an Argentinian sci-fi survival tale involving deadly snowfall. That sounds about as interesting as fucking tissue paper.
Ryan, yeah.
It's Godzilla season 2 as well.
Eyes of Wakanda, an animated TV series about Wakanda.
What's
Not
that?
really
Wakanda
sure on
again?
that one.
Which one's Wakanda?
Where Black Panther comes from.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I recognise. I couldn't think of where it was.
There's the Pacemaker. That's coming as well.
Yeah, second best hospital in the galaxy, season 2. I'd never even heard of a season 1. I've got to be honest.
No.
And now here we go. This is the most interesting one on the entire list, and I'll be stunned if you guys have heard of this. Star City. It is a spin-off from For All Mankind based on the Russian space race.
I've still not seen the last season of For All Mankind.
You've got to watch it. It does sound interesting, though.
Yeah, I did like it, but I didn't get into the last season. I watched the first one, then I tailed off. But there's a spin-off.
That's
a new TV series.
Yeah.
I
will watch that.
How they do that, given that we know certain things are going to happen.
Yeah.
Foundation season 3's out this year as well.
What is?
Gone back and watched the first 2, yeah.
It's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Foundation.
Foundation.
Yeah,
that's another series I never finised. I didn't get into season 2 either.
Season 2 is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I will watch all. I'm waiting up until not I want to, but when it gets a bit colder and darker, and then it's just when it's summer, I just go out all the time. I'm hardly in. I'm out all the time. It's just the way I am. I'm no good at watching TV in the summer. Which is why I always think it's weird that shows like Doctor, all the stuff that we've been watching recently, it's all like while the weather's been great, and all this stuff should be on in like November, December.
Yes,
and that's because they know.
That's because they know you're stuck in November, December, and you're going to be watching TV anyway. They put the good stuff out in the summer to make you stay home.
I don't understand why. But that's
how a network exec works. If you're running a TV network, you don't want everybody out in the summer enjoying the sun. You want them at home. Have you never seen Scrooged, where he gives his big speech at the beginning? Everybody in front of him. That's how a network exec is.
That is bizarre thinking, but you're absolutely right. Fuck that. I'm out in the sunshine. I'm going to go down the beach. I can fuck off. Right, on that note, I'm going to let's go into our focus of the week, guys. We've got a good one. Here we go.
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Focus of the Week.
Okay, so we have just finished a series from the Star Wars franchise, a series where some YouTubers, big YouTubers, actually the biggest YouTuber I can think of who is a Star Wars fan. I'm not going to say who it is, but you'll know who he is. He likes to sell lightsabers and things like that. He didn't even bother finishing the show. He watched the first 3 episodes because they were released in 4 3-episode clumps. And he's just dismissed it, and I think that in some ways that's quite surprising because I would have thought if you're the number one Star Wars fan, even if you're not into it, you'd give it a go or finish it off. So I digress. We are talking about Andor season 2, a series which is a very strange one because Martin and I, when we reviewed it, must be about 2 years ago now. It's quite a long time ago because it's such a big gap. We were pretty underwhelmed, weren't we, Martin?
Yes.
That's all you have to say about it. But we have mellowed a bit since then because we both rewatched it and we did enjoy it a bit more.
I'd like to have a moment's silence for Cyril.
Okay. This doesn't make for very good audio, but okay. That'll do.
Right, let's go.
Okay, yeah, that's enough of that. Cyril, poor Cyril. All right, so season 1, we laughed at Cyril, we laughed at his mum, and Cyril and his mum were back for season 2. and but he got a bit of action with Dedra, which is so it was not bad this season for him. So how do we want to proceed? Do we want to just talk about how we like I said, did you all right, let's just ask, what did you both think about it generally before we focus on it? Martin, let's ask you, because I haven't really talked to you too much about it since the last time we talked about it. So go on.
I know the YouTuber you're on about. It surprised me, actually. I thought it would have gone to the end, actually.
Yeah.
That surprised me. That to drop out.
I think it does. I'm sorry, but it's been a lot of people are very pro it, and a lot of people have been saying a lot of good stuff about it. So I think that's he's lost out, or he or she, because I'm not trying not to be specific.
Because,
you know what I mean?
Because what was interesting, when we reviewed it 2 weeks ago, we were the three of us, we weren't impressed.
No.
2 weeks. It was all over the fucking place. It was everywhere. There was no story. Characters were just pointless. And it still carried on like that even in this. But the last 3 episodes, it sort of picks up. The last 4 or 5 episodes, it improved.
I'm gonna just can I just hold you for 1 second, because unfortunately somebody's locked outside. I'm gonna quickly open the door. You keep talking to Malcolm. I'll be right back, and I'll join back in a sec. Sorry, guys.
Malcolm, speak
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I mean, it started off bad. It didn't really pick up. I mean, they were just the cast. I liked. I like all the cast. I like the characters. I think they did really well. I think the set design's fantastic. But just where was the story? Where was the fucking story? I don't understand. Where was it? I was watching it, right? I was watching the last episode, and I touched my screen to get the China thing, and I think, right, there's 20 minutes left of the last episode.
Yeah.
8 minutes of that is probably going to be credits, because that's how this show is. So I've got 12 minutes left, and the story still hasn't started. 2 years in, and the story is still not fucking started, and we've only got 12 minutes left. And lo and behold, that entire 12 minutes was just a montage of him sitting around talking, and 2 people talking in the forest, and her huffing and sighing in a prison cell, and fuck all. Literally, it just ended. There was fuck all, nothing. Flat. There was bollocks. There was no storyline to the entire thing. Some guy on Facebook, when I said this, he said to me, "What are you talking about? We literally saw the birth of the Federation, of the rebellion." I said, "No, you fucking didn't. Luther started the fucking rebellion before season 1. We saw her. No, she was funding it before season 1. All we really see her do was fuck up, run her mouth off, and have to go and hide on Yavin." And he said, "Yes." So we saw the base being built on Yavin. No, we didn't. That happened in the interim between fucking season, the first 3 episodes, and the second. It was suddenly all done. That happened then. Fucking what happened? We got in that last bulk run that you're saying, we got 1 whole episode that was literally silly bollocks breaking into a hospital to kill Luthen, and that was it. That's all we got in that entire fucking episode. It was rubbish. I don't understand why people think it was great. It's like, what have we said? Nothing. We've seen nothing. We don't know any more now about the birth of the rebellion than we fucking knew before. Nothing. The people they should have focused on was Saw Gerrera. We should have seen him. We should have seen how they broke apart, why he got paranoid, why he fucked off, why he turned against them. It should have ended with Mon Mothma and Luthen going at each other. She thinks he's going to kill her. He thinks she's going to kill him, and she just beats him to it and kills him first, and she takes over the fucking rebellion. That's how it should have been. I mean, Andor does nothing. 3 episodes of him handcuffed in a fucking in a ship. The next bulk of 3 episodes, he goes to Gorman and has a conversation with a woman. And then the next bulk, the guy said, "We saw the massacre as a pivoting thing." No, what we saw was Andor, thick as shit that he is, stands there seeing troops. Oh, troops are coming over there, and they're blocking stuff over there, and they're ushering everybody over there. Oh, and there's a sniper on the roof up there. 30 minutes of the cunt walking around, not realizing what's going to happen. He should have been he should have been dead. How the fuck they close? How the fuck did anyone get out of that center? What stormtroopers just said, right, we're killing everybody except you guys. You guys can get out because we need you for exposition later on. Let's carry on killing people. And this moron, this Andor, this great hero, just stands there. Okay, troops are coming in, snipers on the roof. Oh, this is not looking good. 30 minutes of him looking around. Fuck off. It was shit.
Do you know I found it? In the scene, the Force healer woman on Yavin, when she started going on about people carry things with them, it defines them, but he's got to be in a certain place at a certain time. And I'm sat there thinking, yeah, he's going to get done by the Death Star. right. Then my favourite, greatest character who was completely, utterly fucking pointless in Star Wars was Cyril. Cyril, who spent 2 years of his life obsessing over Andor, obsessing over this guy that ruined his life as a security guard. Never even fucking met him. Right?
And when he gets the chance to shoot him, he just stands there looking at him.
Yeah.
If that was me, that would have been like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
And then we got to bit like where Andor's going to shoot Dedra, and he hits him and he kicks Livy. And I was surprised that Cyril could do. Cyril lost the plot and went mad with him. And Andor said to him, like,
Who are you?
Who are you? And he was like, you've ruined my fucking life. And he said,
did you think
who
that
are
was...
you? And then a laser bolt killed him and he was done.
But did you think that...
Like,
what did you think about the fact that Andor didn't know him? What did you think about that? Did you think that was a silly idea,
I thought
or
that
what?
was absolutely fantastic scene. That was a great scene. You know, as you
it
say,
was a payoff, wasn't it? It was a good payoff.
I don't even know who you are. Brilliant.
Paul Cyril has been obsessed with him all his life. Finally got to him, and he said to him, "Well, who are you?" Like, what? Who am I? You, my entire existence been focused on you. And he's like, who are you? And he got done. And then what annoyed me was I found Dedra's character completely pointless by this stage, because it was like how the information of the Death Star got leaked out was all because she got into them hard drives,
some files or something, didn't she?
And kept some files.
Yeah.
And like not reported it, and then she ended up in that prison.
Well, did you think that was a bit odd, the way she suddenly just ended up in prison for that?
Yeah, and it was like, and then that creepy dude.
Which one? There's quite a few of them.
him in charge at ISB in with air. He said to himself, he said, "Do you mind giving me a moment?"
Pendergrass. Pendergrass, I think it's called Pendergrass.
And he blows his fucking brains out.
Yeah, why did he blow his brains out? Yeah, I didn't understand.
You don't want to end up in a prison with fucking Dedra.
Yeah, but that was all seems to be a very severe kind of swing that Pendergrass and Dedra both kind of fucked up within about 10 minutes at the end. So I thought that was a bit odd.
So all these people's lives got ruined because she was obsessed with him as well. This idiot running about. I just would just totally, just all he did was just run around everywhere, turning up, and he never achieved anything. And they're all, and in the episode, they were all saying he's got a destiny, he's great. He gets done by the fucking Death Star. You know, there's no point, mate. You've ruined a load of people's fucking lives, and you get done by a Death Star. And even his girlfriend, she left him. She said, "Oh, I've got to go off and do good fight," and he was getting more stressed. Meanwhile, Cyril finally catches up with him, and like, you've leveled my life when I was a security guard. But Cyril, you're shagging a really good-looking woman that works at Secret Service. They've all used him, and then Cyril has a bit of a guilty conscience when they start massacring the civilians. And it was just all the. Meanwhile, he's running about everywhere. He annoys me. Right?
But even the Cyril thing,
everywhere.
Even the Cyril thing was shit writing. It's just Cyril, right? Cyril knows what's going to happen. He knows all these civilians are going to get fucking shot. So he goes, he walks out into the middle of it and just stands in the middle of it. He knows what's going to happen. That whole scene of him doing it is pointless and serves no other reason than while he's busy looking around, he can suddenly see Andor busy looking around and have his final moment with him. Other than that, there is no reason for him to have walked into it. All right, he's got a guilty conscience. He doesn't like what's going to happen. But don't walk into the fucking middle of it and get killed with everyone else.
And then we got Mon Mothma, who went in. She said, "Oh, you're going to do that speech?" She goes, "I'm going to go in there and tell them all." And then she does the speech, and they can't cut her off. And then she does the runner. He turns up to save her, but the other three at work for Bail Organa, who said he don't really know them, but he can trust them. And one of them's an ISP agent. And it's like, well, if these are your people, you're going to know. If you can trust them. So they get her out, and then and it was just a farce. Then him at own the shop, who was interested in the first season, and this season he was just fucking useless, right? He's like, she turns up and says, "Oh, I've got something interesting to you," because she thinks she's going to get promoted on the fast track. And she puts that hard drive, and he stabs himself. And I mean, why didn't they just assault the shop instead of all that and just grab him?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And then we got a whole episode of the adopted daughter trying to get him out of the hospital. Meanwhile, he's running around everywhere, just doing whatever.
Sounds like Benny Hill.
The funniest thing to me was I was reading in the run-ups to it before each plot came out. It was the wonderful YouTube fan theories and all that was going to. People actually thought they were watching a completely different show that had a massive kind of 24 episode run. That people were going, "Oh, have you look at the woman when the antique shop woman when she's on that pedestal talking about how on this planet they're all blind and she can read it and all that." And going, if you look, it's not really makeup around her eyes; it's actual scars. So maybe she was born on a planet where she had sight, so she was thrown out, and that's all going to come into it. And fucking Bix is going to be this, and other stuff. And Cyril's going to come back and do this. And it's just so funny that fucking none of it. They didn't even come
all
close.
The theories are wrong.
To any of it. Yeah. It just nothing. There was no story to it at all. Nothing. It was just a load of shit scenes.
And then we got credit telling her off. Like, yeah. And I thought, so you built this weapon that's like the most destructive power in the universe, and she's kept the data on it. Like, why? We never find out why she keeps it. She just kept it, and it's like she's hoping to get promoted, and she ends up in that prison. So everything she tried doing, and it's like, oh, because this idiot running about everywhere, just being like running about. Oh, it's because that's all he did. And he leveled loads of people's lives. Image Shop died. She got sent to prison. Poor Cyril, who was just totally fucking utterly pointless, but I like the guy, died. And it was just like, and then maybe final episode we started getting some leading to Rogue One when they flew off. And I did like the robot K2SO. I thought that was great. I liked it.
It was great seeing him again. Yeah.
He was best thing in it. Him.
We had this great moment of the end of the episode with Saul Guerrero, where he's got the young kid with Willman, and he's doing and he does that beautiful speech because you're here now, and all that, and you just think fucking something big's going to come on this. The next time you see Saul Guerrero, he's looking out the window, which I think is a stock shot from fucking Rogue One.
Was it a stock shot?
That big fucking speech, we are here now, and all this kind of, the kid takes it off and breathes the fucking thing, and then he becomes a fucking nobody as well.
Yeah, he wasn't then followed up, was he? Yeah. I mean, do you think, that this whole thing was pointless? I mean, does it change the perspective of Rogue One, or do you think
it could have been such a fucking fantastic series to tell us how the rebellion started, and it was just a wasted opportunity.
Was it too many episodes as well? Too much padding?
No,
it was only padding. There was nothing else.
That's what I'm
padding.
The problem was it should have been. You see, I like Imperial bureaucracy, the whole, the administration. I love the new stormtroopers in the uniform with the white armor.
Well, yeah, like I said to you, the guys with no helmets on and the one guy who's only wearing the jacket, and I quite like that idea.
I loved all that, and I thought, let's like get half of it on the people that work for them, and then her doing the speech, and then she has to leave the planet, and they set up that council to create the rebellion, and they start reaching out to other groups across the galaxy and forming this alliance. And it didn't. It well, like there were bits of it, but that were it. You know,
If you
and
go,
it,
if you
it,
go
it
back
could have
to,
been a masterpiece. It should have been.
but if you go back to Battlestar Galactica, the reimagined series, when they're trapped
Yeah,
on New Caprica, and you get those three beautiful episodes of like the shanty town, and you got Colonel Ty, who's now got the one eye, and he's fucking
yeah,
driven and sending out fucking
yeah,
suicide bombers because I'm not fucking giving up. And then the president is trying to like, you're sending, but you know that's not the way to do it. That's what we should have seen between Luthen, Saw Gerrera, and fucking Mon Mothma. It should have been scenes
yeah.
like that of Saw Gerrera going, no, I'm going to do it, and her going, we can't fucking. That's destroying people is not how we're going to win this, and that's why he fucks off. And then her and Luthen are like this until she realizes Luthen's going to bump her off, so she fucking does him first. This is what we should have seen. It was just, it's got to be the most wasted opportunity of a TV series I've ever seen in my life.
Well, I
Um,
mean, well, but like, he should have killed lots of stuff.
I love it. I want to be the others, and there's a great
I
thing where he has
did,
this
I
argument
did.
with I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. What? So at the end of Andor season 1, when you asked Luthen if you were only 6 years old then, so you were only 7 when you died. It's age different in the fucking Star Wars universe. And I'm like, I was 6 years old. I've been in this fight. No, you weren't. You're lying, cunt. Fuck me. You've been in it about 18 months if a day.
A lot of people were saying about the Gorman massacre in episode 8 how it was a fantastic piece of television filming and everything. Now, I have to know. Okay, I'm going to lessen things a bit here. I do like seeing ships and things like that.
Okay.
We hardly saw any ships at all.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I would thought we were
yeah.
going to see like a big Star Destroyer hovering over it. We saw about 25 stormtroopers and a few people screaming and singing. Was it the most horrific, terrible thing you've ever seen in Star Wars, or was it kind of like
No.
what? It was
No.
overrated, wasn't it?
Same worse than that.
Yeah. There's fucking worse, more scary things in the Clone Wars cartoon.
That's what I was thinking because I was saying, oh, this is, and it was getting like
Why did we
9.8.
see-
And go on.
Why didn't we see them mining rigs land on the planet as well?
I was thinking
would have
that.
liked to
Why
have
did
seen-
we see like a aerial
Yeah.
shot of all the ships coming from space, heading towards the atmosphere, going down?
Coming
Those
down,
scenes are
coming
what
down
we were.
like-
Well, I
Okay.
think ship-wise, they can't show that. But the narrative is supposed to be that these people are here protesting, and then they suddenly start violence, and so they had to be fucking shot by the minimal number of. You can't have ships flying over and doing stuff because then it looks like you planned it. You know, they had to make it look like
Yeah, but
they were
you could have
just
seen
there
some
to
scenes
believe.
of like the mining ships that were coming into.
Put
or
it this way.
getting-
Put it this
go
way.
on.
Let's just say we have a protest in London, we have a pro-Palestinian thing that all kicks off, and suddenly there's fucking tanks and fucking F-16s going down and all that. You seriously thinking people are not going to go? Really? You didn't incite that yourself? You weren't ready for that? You know what I mean? That's what it was. Their narrative didn't allow for anything more than a few security guards.
Okay, all right.
No. And there were no need for them to create that riot either, because they were already dropping the mining rigs on the planet. And they could have just took the population. You know, that were another thing. Like Dedra, who was in charge of the operation. It was like it were all pointless. There's so much in this that were pointless.
But I mean,
So-
There
what's
were
his name?
moments where it was good. Don't get me. There were certain things, but
Cyril's job was to incite that riot. That was his job. He
Yes,
might
it
not
was.
realise it, but that was his
Yeah,
job.
he didn't
was to
realise
make
it until that's
So,
right.
so we should have seen him doing that, or at the very least, when he backs out and doesn't do it, there should have been other Imperial people in there inciting it. Go on, fucking throw the rock. Go on, shoot that. Make sure you go in armed.
Yeah.
People ready to fucking kick it off. But nobody. We just relied on the fact that they were going to kick it off themselves.
That's what I mean. It's like the whole thing of it. It was like Andor. They could have just done a series about setting up the Rebel Alliance. Because I think in this, you couldn't. What's that expression where you were like, you sort of adopt the characters, you get into the narrative with them, and you're following their journey. I just don't think you got that any connection with the characters. Number one, you know what's going to happen, so you're not connecting with anybody. And I think that's where they made Sol Guerrero was the one probably character I did. I wanted more of
but
him.
we didn't get much from him.
It's even like the stupidity of it. In the first season, we're led to believe that Mon Mothma's been bankrolling the whole thing by stealing money from her own account, however that works. So we're supposed to believe she bought all these X-wings, she bought all these shuttles, she bought all them. What we should have had was an episode where, I don't know, they help a fucking planet out and the X-wings are their fleet. So they adopt them from a planet they fucking helped as part of the rebellion. That's where they get all their X-wings and all their equipment from.
And what about her husband? What about that fella she was? What her husband? He sat in like a flying limo at the end as if nothing.
Yeah.
He got off with
the wife of the guy who got
arrested. He would have been arrested.
But the last scene with the husband, he got off with the wife of the
one who gets murdered. Yeah.
No, that was the wife of the guy
the one
that married the daughter. The daughter's family. The daughter's.
What was that all about? Why the fuck did we need 3 episodes of a wedding of the daughter and she's not in it again ever? Yeah. They had one scene where she's supposed to say goodbye to her and try and convince her to do that all falls flat, and they edited it out because it was so shit. So what the fuck was the point of them 3 episodes? That wedding, all of that lead up, just so that we could see that Luthor's not a nice guy, which we knew anyway, and killed her friend. That's all we knew, and we didn't even see that. That was done off screen. Madness.
Yeah, it was implied. You knew what was going to happen. Because you had that character that's in Doctor Who. We saw her go off with the guy because he was getting cold feet.
So it's implied. Yeah. It's implied, but don't imply it. This is what we tuned in.
You mean you want to see it? You mean you want to see it because it's Star Wars.
The events.
Yeah, but a lot of it was implication. A lot of the whole show was implication. It wasn't actually physical.
Well, a lot of it was done in between the fucking off air. I want to see the guy brought into a room with Mon Mothma stood there watching as the guy realizes and then gets shot and she has to.
No, he didn't do that. A lot of it was
getting into a limousine and being fucking carted off.
A lot of it was implication.
He would have been arrested. They would have arrested him. Don't matter if he were innocent. They would have took him. And it was like the thing on Yavin as well with the first episode when he stole that beautiful TIE fighter, which I loved.
Never to be seen again.
Yeah, that was a cool TIE fighter.
Again. And what happened to them people who were left on that planet, that division of fighters or whatever?
They got together.
We could have at least seen a couple of them on the base as recruited rebels, couldn't we? Really?
It was like later,
What happened to them? I mean, they were never mentioned again. It was like...
Well, again, it's implied that they joined when the other people started to group up on Yavin.
I think it's more implied that he fucked off, took their ship, and they got killed by whatever that weird fucking...
Yeah.
I think that's basically what happened there.
There were no... It was like... He'd turn up somewhere, get involved in a ridiculous situation, and then he, as usually, ruins everybody's lives and clears off. but there's no mention of it.
But I'm trying to remember the second batch of 3 episodes. I'm fairly certain all he does is go to Gorman and have a 10-minute conversation.
I can't even remember the second batch.
I was scrolling on my phone at that time.
He's in the 3 episodes. He's in it for 10 minutes. Nonsense.
I just 350 million spent on this.
Why do we need all the backstory of why the woman is so loyal to Luthor before she kills him? Why do we need the flashbacks of who he was? And that was another great theory. This long-winded, convoluted theory that Luthor's going to reveal to be a Jedi and all that. It's so funny because I next turned on, he's dead 2 minutes later.
I mean, there were that Force sailor when she because they're always trying to promote him in the series.
What's the point of her?
Yeah, but Andor,
she was supposed to show his destiny. She was supposed to, the Force healer was supposed to sense that Andor was a big part of the fact that he was going to be integral to eventually the Death Star plans getting into the rebellion.
That's it.
But how they got all the Death Star plans were totally, utterly pointless. It was pointless. After everything in Rogue One and New Hope, all that were these plans where they're trying to stop them. But it's how the plans got leaked. It was just ridiculous. You know,
It also leads on to
work for ISB with Moustache.
also leads on to at the end of Andor season 2, at the very last episode, there's still fuck all to the rebellion. There's a few of them on Yavin. They've got a couple of X-wings. There's a handful of them, and we're supposed to believe that, like, whatever it is, 9 months later or something, they're big enough to take the Death Star down. What the fuck happened in them 9 months? How did their fleet suddenly get so fucking huge? There were 2 X-wings on that planet. Now suddenly they've got fucking Gold Leader and Red Leader.
Blue Leader.
All the fucking Y-wings and all the fucking other ships and the medical frigates and the blockade run. Where the fuck did all that come from?
All right.
Fully left.
Well, let's ask them. I mean, I do agree with a lot of what you're saying, but this series seems to be extraordinarily well received on YouTube by most YouTubers.
Because the viewers are idiots now. They're idiots. That I could literally fucking get a dead body, drag it into the street, shit on it, and piss into it. Marvel, Doctor Who, Star Wars, or fucking Star Trek, and there'd be fans out there going, "You're not a fan." Misogyny, racist, homophobe, and all that.
Sorry, Malcolm. At the moment, mate, you make a very good GIF. That was really good. I could make you into a GIF for that scene. That was brilliant. So I'm just warning you. No, I know what you're saying. I mean, let's just sort of because we've got about 10 minutes left before we're going to finish off 9 minutes. So let's wrap things up a bit. So first of all, do you see Rogue One any different than? Does it seem worse, better? If you were to watch Rogue One again now,
Rogue One.
I did watch it. Yeah,
Rogue One.
It's still good.
Kind of one off. It should have been.
I would say the only thing that really changed for Rogue One, and it's a minor thing, and it probably didn't even change that much, is it kind of, for me, removed any kind of romance between Andor and Jyn Erso at the end. That's just. Now it's just his missus is off on another planet. He's not trying to bang Jyn or anything like that. Not that we see any of that in the film, but before there was kind of alluded to romance.
Yeah, there was now it's
just a hug between 2 people who know they're about to fucking their toast, basically.
Yeah,
so that's about the only thing that really changed.
Okay, all right. And would it have been better? I mean, most of these Star Wars series are very short, 8 episodes per season. Okay, the first question. Mandalorian or Andor? Which do you prefer? I know which I prefer.
I'm going to say Mandalorian, but not by much. Mandalorian just had some better stuff in it, but it also had some dire crap in it as well.
Okay, Martin?
Mandalorian.
Yeah, Mandalorian for me too, because a lot of people are saying that Andor is the best Star Wars series ever, and
I know that you and me gave the first season a second chance. You sit through all this again?
I think,
but there's nothing to sit through.
No, I know, but I would say, because obviously Martin asked, I would say that I would give it. Now that I know it was lower than my expectations. You know, I wanted to see more of the proper Empire, like blowing up planets and all sort of. I'm sorry, I know it's less adult orientated because everybody's saying this is the most adult Star Wars series. Well, if it's the most adult, does that mean that most adults are boring fucks then? Because I mean, I want Star Wars. Star Wars is more about action.
Just very quickly on Rogue One, there was something else that really fucking tickled me on Rogue One when I watched it again.
What?
Was the whole bit where the Star Destroyer's lost power. We need to take the shield down. Call me up a hammerhead. I've got an idea, and then he uses the hammerhead to push the one Star Destroyer into the other one that crashes into the big ring. Right now, I was kind of worrying about the physics of that, and I'm thinking, okay, so there's no air pressure. So I'm thinking eventually that hammerhead probably could do that. You probably could. But then I thought, so smashing something into that fucking ring is all it takes to take it down. Why did you need the Star Destroyer? That hammerhead walked away from that unscathed. Why didn't you just crash the hammerhead into the fucking ring in the first place, break the shield down, and then fly off?
Could it be
you could have done that before the fucking Death Star arrived and been out of there, and everybody'd still be alive.
It's called a plot hole, Malcolm. All right, out of 10 then, guys. What are you going to give this one? I think I'll start this time. I'm going to give it a 6.5.
What, the whole of Andor?
Yeah. Well, no, let's do season 2 for the moment. Oh, I don't know yet. I need to think about it a bit more. 6.5 for season 2. Martin. He's thinking.
Oh, fine. I'm going to give it a 5 because of Cyril.
But in the first season, you put him 2 because of Cyril. Okay, that's fine. Malcolm, what about you?
And everybody's frozen.
All right, we'll be back in a second. I can hear you, Martin. Can you hear me? Uh-oh, it could be a technical glitch.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, here we are. Martin's back. Okay.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. Okay.
It just froze everything.
Let me just check with Malcolm. Martin's back. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. For some reason, we were just wrapping up things, and then it all just completely went tits up. Martin's back with me, but for some reason, Malcolm he's disappeared. He's showed me a picture of his screen there. Everybody can't see it, but he's just said that he can't. It's not showing up, but he can't connect to him again. Malcolm said that he would say, he says, yeah, that's got my score. So I think he's indicating that he would give it a 5. So I'm surprised I gave it the highest, actually. I thought it might be slightly higher with my co-host, but that's perfectly fair enough. And we're going to ask whether we would have it in our collection. Malcolm says, as a completed, yes. Will I watch it again? Unlikely. Yeah. So he would have a copy of it. Now, I will give it another rewatch because I still think...
You're a braver man than me.
No, I will. I'll need a bit of time out of it, but Okay, so I would have it in my collection. Would you have it in your collection?
Yes, I would, yeah. I don't think I could go back and watch it again.
Okay, well, after all these technical issues for the last 20 minutes, or the last 5 minutes of the podcast, which is really annoying because we were literally just wrapping up, I'm back to say goodbye, basically. Martin and Malcolm are gone. Martin did come back, but then disappeared, and Malcolm already disappeared previously. Malcolm said that he would have Andor in his collection, but he probably never will watch it again. And he rated it as a 5. I think he said the same as Martin. I rated 6.5. So, yeah, I think that this is a series where, for me, you have preconceptions about what to expect, and I think those preconceptions are based on familiarity of everything which has come from the Star Wars universe. And it, like the Star Destroyer behind me now, you never saw that. You saw one. I'm a ship guy. I like ships, and you didn't see much of that. I know that's not the base of the series, but that's what I really missed. I think in subsequent viewings, which I will do, I think it'll be better now that I know what to expect. And I hope you liked it. I don't quite know why it's quite so highly regarded by people, but it is. Yeah, and there's nothing much more to say about it, really. It does make me want to just put Rogue One again, because Rogue One is good. And Rogue One, when I came out of the cinema, when it was released about, 9 years ago, I loved it. I was blown away by it, and I thought it was so good. I still think it's good. And if anything, it makes it better because it has some bloody action as well. And that's what... I know it had action in Andor, but it's just, I don't know, it's just something that wasn't quite Star Wars for me. I can't really define it. It's just something was missing, but I can't quite pinpoint what that was. Anyway, that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave and be back in 2 weeks with Malcolm and Martin. We're going to review Doctor Who Season 2 or Series 15 or Series 41, I think it is, or Series 40. I think it's 41 now. Because we would have seen the last 2 episodes. Yeah, hopefully it'll be okay. I mean, this is it for Doctor Who until 2027, which is quite, well, it's not that long a gap, but it's long enough, isn't it? You know what I mean? We have, I think it's the longest hiatus we've had since Doctor Who came back in 2005, and it does remind me a bit of the hiatus we had at the end of Colin Baker's first series, when Michael Gray and everybody else really wanted to put the brakes on it. Hopefully it'll be all right, but you never know. So thank you if you checked it out. Hope you enjoyed the actual podcast. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Until next time, even though I'm on my own, live long and prosper.
Before there was hope in the galaxy, there was Andor. As a ruthless empire tightens its grip, one man, chosen by happenstance, will rise up to become a leader of a revolution. He is a new kind of hero for a new age. His name is Andor.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're heading into the Star Wars galaxy, specifically that more grounded part we saw in the series, Andor.
That's right. And our guide for this exploration comes from episode 217 of the Solo One Sci-Fi podcast.
A pretty lively chat they had over there.
Oh yeah, definitely opinionated. It featured three, self-described sci-fi fans, Michael B., Martin Fowler, and Malcolm Patterson. And they really got into the reactions to Andor, especially the second season.
Which definitely divided people, didn't it?
It really did. Caused quite a stir.
Okay, so our mission today, if you will, is to pull out the key insights from their discussion. You know, the different takes, the surprising bits.
Basically give you a quick rundown on why the show got such varied responses.
Exactly. So let's start at the beginning. What were their first impressions? How did Andor initially land with them?
What's interesting, Michael B. said he felt pretty underwhelmed at first.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then he mentioned watching it again, and his view softened quite a bit. He kind of mellowed on it.
So maybe one that benefits from a rewatch.
Could be. It suggests maybe there's more going on beneath the surface, perhaps rewards a closer look.
And Martin Fowler.
He seemed to agree, at least initially. Also, somewhat unimpressed.
But Malcolm Patterson, he had a stronger reaction.
Oh, definitely. Much more negative. He really felt the story just didn't go anywhere significant.
Relaxed progression.
Yeah, and he found the pacing a real issue. Especially towards the end in the finale, he felt it just didn't deliver on its potential. Left him wanting more, plot-wise.
They also mentioned something quite surprising, didn't they? About a Star Wars YouTuber.
Right. Apparently a pretty prominent one didn't even finish the series.
Wow. That says a lot about how polarizing it's been, even among dedicated fans.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's dig into the story criticisms a bit more. What were Malcolm's main problems with the actual plot?
His core issue was, the lack of significant movement on the whole Birth of the Rebellion angle.
Right. For a prequel, you kind of want to see those key steps clearly.
Exactly. You know where it's heading, so the journey needs to show meaningful milestones. He felt those big moments, like the supposed unification of the rebel groups.
What they called the birth of the Federation of the Rebellion. That kind of foundational moment.
Precisely. That and setting up the Yavin base, he just felt they weren't portrayed with the impact he expected. Kind of glossed over, maybe.
And he wasn't keen on the hospital infiltration episode either.
No, he saw that as a bit of a side quest, like a detour that didn't really push the main narrative forward significantly.
Interesting. And he contrasted that with what he saw as missed opportunities.
Yeah, that's the fascinating part. He felt the show could have spent more time on things we know are important later.
Like Saw Gerrera's whole radicalization.
Exactly. Or Mon Mothma's political maneuvering, the real nitty-gritty of her power plays in forming the rebellion.
And the internal conflicts, the arguments about strategy and ideology that must have happened.
Right. All that potential he felt was sort of sidelined for other things that didn't feel as relevant to him.
Okay, let's switch gears to the characters. What were the main disappointments there, according to Malcolm?
A big one was Andor himself, specifically during the Gorn massacre sequence.
How so?
Malcolm's take was that Andor came across as surprisingly passive, almost unaware of the danger brewing around him.
Which raises questions about his agency in that key moment.
It does. How involved is your main character in these pivotal events? That was his concern.
And then there was Cyril Karn. Quite a build-up for that character's obsession.
Right. 2 seasons focused on his hunt for Andor. And the payoff.
What was it?
Andor apparently didn't even recognize him when they finally met.
Oh.
Yeah. Malcolm felt that, plus Cyril's very sudden death right after was just anticlimactic. Didn't feel like a satisfying conclusion to that whole arc.
And Deidre Mero. Her storyline also drew some criticism.
Definitely. Her sudden imprisonment and then that scene with Pendergrass.
Which was quite confusing for a lot of people, not just Malcolm.
Exactly. He questioned how her whole arc really fit into the bigger picture of the rebellion. It felt a bit disconnected, maybe.
So the resolution felt abrupt and unclear.
Yeah, the ending for her, with that Pendergrass scene, left Malcolm and others feeling like her story lacked a clear point or satisfying wrap-up.
He also mentioned some other characters feeling underdeveloped or disappearing, like Andor's girlfriend.
Right, her and Mon Mothma's husband, too. Characters introduced, seemingly important, but then sort of fade out without much resolution.
And the wedding subplot. That took up quite a bit of time.
It did, and Malcolm questioned its necessity, how it really served the main story of the rebellion's rise.
It brings up that idea of narrative economy, doesn't it? Making sure all the pieces contribute.
Absolutely. Did every thread really weave into the central story effectively? That was his question.
Okay, what about inconsistencies or maybe logical issues they brought up?
One specific point was about Luthen. There seemed to be a mismatch in his age versus how long the show implied he'd been in the fight.
A timeline issue in his backstory.
That's what Malcolm pointed out, yeah. He also took issue with calling the Gorn massacre fantastic.
He didn't feel it was.
No, he argued it lacked the scale and the emotional weight to really land as this huge, impactful event. Felt a bit small, maybe?
He also had questions about the Empire's reaction during those protests.
Yeah, he felt their tactics didn't seem entirely logical, even for the Empire within the Star Wars context.
Okay. And another big one, Mon Mothma's funding.
Right. How she was funding the rebellion early on. It raised questions when you think about Rogue One.
How quickly a large rebel fleet seems to appear by then.
Exactly. Does the timeline and the resource accumulation add up? That was a point of discussion. Plausibility within the established universe.
So, thinking about Rogue One, did watching Andor change how they viewed that movie at all?
For Malcolm, it seemed to diminish any potential romantic angle between Andor and Jyn Erso.
Oh, interesting. How so?
He felt their final moments in Rogue One, after seeing Andor, felt less like romance and more like, well, 2 soldiers sharing a moment before a sacrifice. A shared understanding of their mission.
That makes sense. Did they mention anything else about Rogue One?
Malcolm did bring up one specific plot point from the movie, you know, the Hammerhead Corvette pushing the Star Destroyer.
Ah, yes. Ramming it to disable it.
Right. He questioned whether that really holds up logistically within Star Wars physics and ship capabilities.
It's funny how a prequel can make you re-examine things you maybe didn't question before in the original.
Definitely. It shines a new light, sometimes highlighting potential inconsistencies.
So how do they feel Andor stacked up against other recent Star Wars shows? Like The Mandalorian.
It sounded like all 3 generally preferred Mandalorian, actually, though they acknowledged it has its own issues, of course.
But overall, Mando resonated more.
It seems so. The consensus appeared to be that Andor, while maybe aiming for something different, more serious, didn't quite hit the same mark for overall satisfaction for them.
And what about the claim some people make that Andor is the best Star Wars series ever?
Ah, yes. They tackled that directly. All 3 hosts on the Solo One sci-fi discussion explicitly disagreed with that assessment.
Okay, so let's get to their final verdicts. The ratings for Season 2.
Michael B. landed on a 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
And both Martin Fowler and Malcolm Patterson gave it a 5.
A flat 5. Wow.
Yeah. And their feelings about rewatching it or keeping it, you know, in their collection were also mixed.
Reflecting those scores, I imagine?
Pretty much. Michael B. sounded maybe a bit more open to revisiting it than the others.
And he still holds Rogue One in high regard.
Oh, definitely. He mentioned that again. And interestingly, he also said he struggled to pinpoint exactly why Andor didn't fully click for him as Star Wars. Something felt slightly off, even if he recognized its quality.
That undefinable Star Wars feel.
Right.
So, wrapping up our deep dive into that Solo One Sci-Fi chat, it's really clear Andor sparked a lot of debate.
No kidding. Very strong opinions on pacing, plot, characters, all over the map.
Some really appreciated the different, more grounded flavor.
But others definitely felt it was a missed opportunity, that it didn't quite add enough to the bigger Star Wars story in a meaningful way.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Considering all these different, sometimes clashing viewpoints on Andor, what is it about Star Wars storytelling that really needs to be there for you?
Yeah, what are those crucial elements? Does Andor's very grounded, serious approach succeed? Does it add depth, or does it maybe lose some of that that essential Star Wars magic along the way?
Maybe watching Rogue One again after thinking about all this might offer some fresh perspectives.
Could be an interesting exercise.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Turn it up loud, feel the beat. Walk speed, engines, no defeat. Solo One, the pulse that